PHNX Coyotes podcast brought to you by the one and only DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download today using code PHNX. Bet just $5 on any NFL team to win their game. And if they do, you win $200 in free bets. It's just that easy. Pack therapy for the...
And Craig's here again
Is this
in
the
studio.
9th or the 10th time?
Back-to-back Craig Morgan shows.
I'm not used to being here at night.
I know.
This is different.
It is different. We're usually, Leah and I are usually drinking by now.
Well, instead of drinks, we
We're
brought
Halloween
our
candy.
leftover Halloween
Yeah,
candy.
we're
So what does
binging on
everyone
Kit
want?
Kats.
I'm a Kit Kat gal myself. All right,
else you
you're
got
a
in there?
Reese's guy.
I am a Reese's guy, so I'll
PD,
take that.
what do you feel?
No, I'm going to hold off. That's all I've been doing since we got here.
Look,
Well,
it's-
you should have known that we
it's
were going to have to
Philadelphia
eat
Flyer
our...
colors here.
You
See?
knew we were going to have to eat our feelings in Halloween candy.
We're going to get into our Halloween stories later because
Because we
there
can
really
only
is not
talk
much-
about the Coyotes losing.
I'm actually
Later.
I'm going to be skipping out very soon. Probably
Oh.
taking down a light or two as I go out to do the interviews.
And you're
Aaron's
not
hoping
coming
not.
back?
Aaron's looking at me like, you better not do
Are you
that.
not coming back?
No, he's coming back.
We'll see. We'll
It
see how I
depends on
feel
how
after the
he
post-game
feels.
interviews.
Yeah, we want to wrap with your Halloween stories with a bunch of
Oh, yeah.
teenagers at a
Oh,
haunted
yeah.
house.
No, he'll be back. He's going to go get information from the...
Shout out to Greg Dillard. I'll be getting a phone call from him shortly, and then we'll do the post-game
Is Greg on the
interviews.
road on this one?
Greg is on the road for the
Rich didn't take the 10 days
entirety.
for 5 cities?
Yeah, you're shocked
Big
at that, right?
surprise.
Smart
Shout out
man.
to
Rich
Rich at
there is
home
a
right now.
smart man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So the
Well,
Coyotes drop another one. 3-0.
Yeah.
In it to the last minute again. They just can't score.
They just can't score.
We talked about it early, though.
can't
We said if they could find some offense, and this is a team. I don't know if you read my keys to the game, Craig, but I did say whoever scores first.
You
Because
do keys to the game?
I did.
Oh, okay.
So Philly hasn't won a game when they gave up the first goal, and 1 minute in, the very first shift, Clayton Keller, right in front of the net, passes the puck. They shoot the puck. Like, this team has not tasted enough offensive success that they need to pass up shots from inside the dots. I don't understand it. Not that that's the difference in the game, because actually, offensively, they looked good through.
They
40.
created chances. They did.
Yeah,
The
like
shots were even. Now I'm talking with my mouth.
Oh, it's okay. Going back to the Natty Hattie, this is the one problem I had with the Natty Hattie. Luke Lipinski and Jamie Eisner didn't allow me to talk into the mic when I had food in my mouth.
Seriously.
And that bothered me. So
You should
know,
For
be-
everyone who has a phobia
feel free
of
now.
chewing, I'm so
I feel free now.
sorry. I'm so sorry. Anyway, the shots were even almost the whole game after 2 periods.
no, they honestly look good.
Yeah, they were tied in shots. I even turned to Craig in the first. I said, wow, like 11 shots on goal so far in that period at the time. It was just refreshing to see some offensive opportunity. But like we said when we tweeted out Petey's keys to the game earlier, people were saying shots on net, and someone was very adamant. No, we need shots in net. And people were like, no, just shots on net. But like that one person
They
was
call
like,
those goals.
yeah, shots in net. And the Coyotes just haven't had many.
Well, let's throw up that stat, shall we? They have 13 goals in 10 games.
Yeah. That's just not going to cut
which
it.
puts them 32nd in goals for, goals against, power play, penalty kill. If you're last in everything, you're not.
The
gonna
PK
win.
has improved significantly in
It
recent
has.
games. Yeah,
It really has.
But they can't score.
It's
They
still
just can't
last.
score.
Or coming into this game, it was still last in the league.
Yeah.
Their power play, this is all before this game, 31st power play, 32nd penalty kill, 32nd goals for, 32nd goals against. Their one stat category, face-off percentage, 27th.
There you
we'll
go.
take the small
We're
victories.
small victories. I don't know what they're going to do offensively when you're this offensively challenged. You have to throw more pucks at the net. I mean, everything has to be a shot on net, and everything converges at the net. You simplify everything offensively. As soon as we get over the blue line, everybody knows the puck's going to the net. There's no plays down low. We're not going behind the net. We're not going to ring pucks around the wall. Puck's going to the net, and everybody's going to go there. Because honestly,
And I'll see you later.
that's the only way this team is going to score, is if they can get those scrums in front of the net, and we can get the puck delivered there. And one thing that I thought was a positive, and I better get the new stat, Jacob Chychrun. Jacob Chychrun had 6 shots on goal tonight. And so this, for him, he needs to get going. We had him, I think it might have been you, Leah, that had him picked to be one of the offensive leaders of
I think
this
I
team.
had him for leading points. Yeah.
And he's been held off the score sheet through 10. He needs to get his offense going. And he does it by shooting. And we just talked about shooting. That's what you need to do. You need to shoot the puck. And so with him, with 6 shots and none were blocked, It's coming. Like, let's hope it comes in the next game.
Yeah, you hope so, because to see him struggling this season like he has been, I mean, he has 0 points in 9 games. Was this the 9th game or the 10th?
This was 10th.
So 0 points in 10 games.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's no way at DraftKings Sportsbook.com you'd have taken that. There's no way.
No,
Jacob Trickman scoreless through
this
10.
is somebody who was in the
Led the NHL in
peripheral
goals by
conversation
defensemen.
for Norris last year. So
Makes
I
no
mean,
sense.
I know he's not necessarily the team. It's not like the team is putting up offensive numbers and he's just not getting on the score sheet. It's just there's nothing.
Yeah, and the other thing too that's really disappointing. If you're not going to score, this team cannot make defensive mistakes. And you look at the goal that they gave up, the 1-0 goal. If you freeze frame, which we did in the office, if you freeze frame it when Philadelphia gets the puck over the red line, it's a 2-on-5. And at that point, on a 2 Flyers, 5 Coyotes, there is no way that should have ended up in the back of their net. There is no way. There's so many mistakes to get from the red line to your net that creates a goal. It's not one guy. Lyubushkin can stop the play. Lyubushkin can stop the play at the blue line. He's one-on-one with the puck carrier. He can close that play off, and it's over. But he didn't. Ladd, Larson through the middle of the ice. Soderstrom has to recover for Lyubushkin's mistake, and all of a sudden there's a player left all alone in front of the net. This team cannot make defensive mistakes. They've shown it over and over again through 10 games. If they make a defensive mistake, it ends up costing them in the back of the net. It just does. And until they can stop those mistakes in their own end, they're not going to win. They need to score, but they can't stop the bleeding defensively, and they're going to have to do that. They have to play mistake-free hockey with this roster. And we looked at their next game. Anaheim is a team we think they can beat. Well, Anaheim just won their last game at home against Montreal. They're playing New Jersey tonight. They've got a good young team, and they're staying at home. The Coyotes are traveling literally across the country.
I know. It's crazy. And I will say, though, besides the couple mistakes we talked about, I do feel like in the last couple of games, the Coyotes have tightened up their defense. And I think also Vejmelka's play has really contributed to a lot of the fact that they're in close games.
Yeah.
It's just, and we've said it again and again, but they have to score. And so, sure, maybe they made 0 mistakes in this game, but if they can't score a goal, they're not going to win. However, I guess that could get you to overtime, and you can at least pull off points that way, because right now, I mean, across 10 games, the Coyotes have 1 point, and it only came from losing in a shootout. That might be the only way this team is going to get points this year.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like, the frustration level in that room must be at fever pitch right now. The players, the coaches have to be just frustrated beyond belief. We're frustrated, and we're sitting here watching on TV. And I know, the Craig's minions, they're out there. They're frustrated too, but I can't imagine the feeling inside this room. They want to win. And right now, there is nothing. I don't know how they get out of the hole. And I keep thinking it's going to be Anaheim, but is it? I don't know.
Could it be Seattle?
Seattle, but then you look at it. Seattle's going to get here a day ahead of time. They're going to be in Arizona waiting and resting. Arizona's going to be in Anaheim. That's a late flight. It's going to take them a while to get post-game. They won't get to bed again until 2 or 3, and then they play the next day. Again, the schedule just doesn't work well for them. Traveling from where they are, they're going to travel back home tonight. Again, in bed 3 in the morning tonight. Tomorrow's a day off. Great. You fly the next day to Anaheim.
At least that's a short flight.
Yeah.
Versus
again, though, they're still going to have to skate. They're still tired. The second day after a trip like that's usually the worst. I don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know if you jumble the lines up, you inject new players into the lineup. Is there time for a call up?
Well, speaking of the lineup, let's talk about a few numbers for time on ice. So Christian Fischer ended the night with only 9 minutes, 14 seconds time on ice. That were saying as we were watching that, we were surprised by that he wasn't getting more minutes.
Yeah, Christian, and I'm a big Christian Fischer work ethic supporter. I think he works incredibly hard when he's on the ice. He's a leader in that group, in that room. And 9 minutes of ice time is not much. I don't know. I know he's not a guy that's you're going to look to lead your team in goals or assists. But having said that, he had a really nice goal in the last game. When does that get rewarded? I honestly don't know. I don't know. I think it's time that you have to start looking at jumbling up the lines. I think you have to. I thought Chikrin, Keller, Hayton again looked.
Kraus, Keller, Hayton.
Kraus, Keller. I'm sorry. That line again looked good. I'd keep them together, but I think it's time you have to start looking at making some changes to the way the lines are structured right now. I think so.
True. And another thing in this game that was at least an improvement on the last two, still not great because it's not, but the Coyotes only took 3 penalties in the game versus the last 2. They took 5 and 6. On the flip side, they had no time on the power play. So which is interesting because that was one of your keys of the game was that they needed to take advantage of the power play.
So Philadelphia coming into this game was the most penalized team in the National Hockey League. Okay, they average more penalties per game than any other team. For the Coyotes to come in here without getting a power play, the way you get power plays is by outworking your opponent in the offensive zone. So they need to have the puck to begin with, and they need to have the puck for extended periods of time in the offensive zone, which create tired defensemen, defensive team, and that's when you take penalties. Or through speed, through the neutral zone where you're skating and odd man rushes and someone's trailing the play, hooking, tripping, those kind of penalties. And the Coyotes didn't do either of those things tonight. You have to earn power plays, and I don't think the Coyotes did that either.
Yeah, well, we talked about the last 2 games. It was very much a pattern where it was 0-0 the whole game. There's a late third period goal, and then it was kind of all downhill from there. Similar tonight in the sense of just that same pattern. And speaking of deja vu, our DraftKings King of the Game has stayed the same consistently all week.
It's almost by default, isn't it?
Yes. And our DraftKings King of the Game is, once again, Karel Vejmelka, a.k.a. Veggie, which thank you if you all voted in our poll, and hopefully you also voted in the Arizona Coyotes Twitter poll.
Remarkably the same poll.
Minutes after our poll. And I think Veggie was winning in both. But, Veggie is giving this team opportunities to win tonight. He had 31 saves on 33 shots, a .939 save percentage at the end there because that last goal was an empty net goal. But, I think Craig was looking at it just before the game ended, and he has the chance after tonight to go up into the top 15 in the league for save percentage, which is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
I don't think anyone saw this coming, but, he's been the most consistent thing on the team. Maybe the only consistent thing besides the Coyotes' lack of offense.
Yeah, and here's the fear again, as I'm trying to read through stats here, when you look at goals for per game, and I'm looking for their next game, Anaheim's still top 10. So, am I right or am I wrong? Well, maybe I'm wrong. They're 12th. They're 12th. They're still respectable. It's a team that's putting up numbers. They've got Troy Terry's putting up good numbers. Shattenkirk's one of the top defensemen in the league for points right now. It's a team that's scoring, especially at home. Now what? This team, we've said it since training camp, they're not going to win 5-4, 6-5, 4-3 games. They're going to win 1-0 or 2-1. That's how this team is built. It's going to be from good defense to good defensive effort, strong goaltending, and they're going to get one on the power play, or they're going to chip one in from a wrist shot from the point. They're not built to score 4, 5, 6 goals a game. They're just not. So, one, you're going to have to come up with a way to create power plays, stop the bleeding defensively, and come up with a goal from somebody somewhere. The next goal can come off somebody's head. It doesn't matter. Just get pucks to the net. The next goal in Anaheim, if it's an ugly goal, maybe that starts the floodgates opening. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but they have to. Pucks and people to the net should be the mantra for the next 48 hours.
Yeah. It took, oh my gosh, I literally, the words were in my
I know.
And then I looked at the comments and I got distracted. Veggie won in both polls substantially.
There we go, Timothy.
Thank you.
Timothy and Andrew are back again.
I know.
So
Andrew said, okay, so here, this will be
I'm behind.
This will be my transition because Andrew always makes it easy for me. So Andrew said that DraftKings took the Coyotes off the futures page on DraftKings.
They did. It's true.
So,
because I was saying hammer, it was at 65 points for the season, and I was going to hammer it. I didn't. I hit it, but not hard. 2 days later, I go, I got to hit this hard, and it is gone.
look at that. And that just goes to show how on top of it the DraftKings Sportsbook
I know.
app is. I remember what I was going to say before was that earlier in the first couple weeks, it was like you wanted to probably bet the over in the Coyotes games. The last week, the under has probably been doing better. But either way, you can do any of those bettings except for betting on the Coyotes' future and point total because DraftKings is way too on top of it. But you can do so on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. And if you sign up using the code PHNX and bet $5 on any NFL team to win their game, and they do, you win $200 in free bets. DraftKings is safe and secure and reliable. Super easy to use. Petey uses it daily.
Yeah. By the way, every game Veggie has started, the Coyotes are under. Just saying.
Just a little.
Vejmelka is starting.
A little.
They've taken the under on 8 of the 10 games they've played, and both games that they were over was games started by Carter Hutton.
Well,
just saying.
There's your little DraftKings
tip of the week.
Tip of the week. That's a new segment that we're going to create. DraftKings tip of the week.
Yeah, you'd think when we were starting going heavy on the overs, the Coyotes early, but now with Veggie, and it's take the under. Because they're not going to score.
Yeah.
So that starts with 0. So you're good there. And Veggie just got to stop, give up 5 or less.
Yeah.
What, do we miss something?
Lawnmower 4.0.
I know.
Our RIP Manscaped Reeds.
I know. Manscaped Reeds are no more. They're dead like Halloween. They're gone.
Yeah.
They gone.
Well, we're gonna. Don't worry. There will be a compilation video coming soon of Petey's best reads. But anyway, back to DraftKings. Like I said, that code PHNX to bet $5 on any NFL team to win, and if they do, you get $200 in free bets on the DraftKings Sportsbook app. 21 and over, Arizona only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Also, on the subject of PHNX, on GoPHNX.com the other day, Craig published his story, the Coyotes fan guide to tanking, irresponsible tank rooting. If you didn't catch that, you can become a member at gophnx.com and get access to all the stories behind the paywall. All of Craig's stories are on there as well. Great content across the board. That was a fun one because here we are 10 games in. The Coyotes are 0-9-1, and I mean the tank is on. So if you want to know more about how to do it the right way, you can read Craig's story at gophnx.com. And if you just want some retail therapy, you can check out the PHNX Locker. There's some amazing merchandise on there, Coyotes and all the other teams.
We're 10 games in, and we're the only team the Coyotes, the only team without a win. Chicago got their win in their last game, so the Coyotes now, of the 32 teams in the league, are winless. And in the chase for right, they're in first.
I thought of a new, because so it's wrong for right, or it's going to be all right. This season is a write-off.
Oh, I like it.
I'm just.
Hashtag write-off.
hashtag write-off.
Not bad.
Just trying to keep it interesting. Well, another storyline from tonight, which was just didn't really have anything to do with the outcome of the game, but just always interesting. Shayne Gostisbehere made his return to Philadelphia for the first time this season since he was traded over the summer. And he spoke with the media earlier this morning to talk about what that's going to be like. This was before the game. So, Erin, will you play that clip?
Yes, 1 second. A little different weather for sure, but it's been cool. Obviously, being here for 7 or 8 years, it was awesome. But being somewhere else for the first time in my career is it's pretty cool. A lot of changes going on, and it's been fun. Rookie year, I scored my first NHL goal in this building. Won a national title in this building. This building's definitely special to me for sure.
All right, so that was Shayne Gostisbehere talking about returning to the building, and that is true that he won a national title in that building too, which is
And he
which
had some
is
great
cool,
years
yeah.
there. He had some really
Yeah,
good
actually,
years in Philly.
so-
His numbers were
So he's
amazing.
fourth in franchise history in goals and fifth in points. I mean,
that's amazing.
And that's a storied franchise. It's not, you
Yeah.
know, like a newish one. It's
Unbelievable
yeah,
numbers. as a
seven
defenseman.
7 seasons in Philadelphia. He was drafted 78th overall, third round by the Flyers in 2012. So I'm sure that was emotional. He also said in that interview that he had a ton of his family and friends at the game, and I think his wife actually still lives in Philly and
Really?
flies to Arizona.
I don't know if I'd do that. I might be here in the wintertime, but
Yeah, right.
that's me.
But anyway, so it was
Andrew.
Yeah, Petey has
does Petey
B.
wear his Coyotes swag to the grocery store? Interestingly enough, no. The only place I do wear my Coyotes swag is here, and it was tucked away in my closet. To be honest, a lot of it didn't survive when I didn't survive. A lot of it might have found new homes. But I kept a few things, thank goodness, because now I can wear it here.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
this is literally, Andrew, the only place I wear my Coyotes swag. Nowhere outside of these doors do I
under
ever
that
wear it.
he's wearing a Tucson.
Yeah, I've got Tucson today.
But he just never wears short sleeve because he's always freezing.
It is cold
And
in
somehow
here.
I'm not always freezing. I also saw another comment about I still want the
There it is right there.
The I
Yeah.
am beer shirt.
I want the I am
I
beer.
also want the I am beer
I
shirt.
am beer.
If someone wants to make me an I am beer shirt, I will gladly wear it on the show.
I am beer.
We had to can I write this season off on my taxes?
That's something we have to ask. Nae's asking when Galley gets back in. We
we'll
have to ask
Craig when he gets back.
Yeah, we have to ask Craig about the injury front there. Like, where is Galchenyuk? Is he getting close? Capobianco hasn't played yet this year. I wonder. You talk about lack of offense. Galchenyuk, that's what he's here for. Like, maybe. Like, and now you can start holding more guys more accountable because guys will be in and out of the lineup. I think that's something that needs to start happening.
True. Sammy asked, "I am beer?" ? So
Missed the Halloween show.
So our Halloween show on Sunday, we all dressed up, and Petey was wearing a hazmat suit to clean up the Coyotes' mess. Craig was wearing a
Werewolf mask?
some monster mask. I don't
Yeah.
know. And I was wearing a beer hat, and somebody didn't know what I was and asked what I was, and I said, "I am beer." And it just kind of stuck, and we all decided that I am beer should be the next PHNX shirt. So, you know, we try to keep it light over here because what more can you do, you know?
So now what? So again, we talked about the same point at the beginning of the season. When is their first win? And we all thought, well, honestly, did I think they wouldn't have a win by now? No, I thought one of these games they would come through with a win. I really, really did. Now, after this start and their lack of offensive output, I honestly don't know. You've got Detroit on the schedule, but Detroit's playing really well.
All the teams we thought were going to not do well, because we said it.
Buffalo, Detroit, they're getting some offense.
Yeah.
You know, Bertuzzi's been on fire, so is that a win? Is that a guaranteed win? No, it's not. Seattle, it's a team that, you know, the new franchise, well, they're coming into Arizona. We'll get a win there. I'm not sure.
It's funny because we came into the season like, oh, the first two games are against Columbus and Buffalo. Maybe they can be 2-0.
Yeah, 2-0.
Like, no, loss. And then the close games came to Washington and Carolina, who are at the top of the league.
Well, even tonight.
Yeah, and the scoreboard said 3-0. One of those was an empty net goal. It was close until, you know, the second half of the third period. So it's interesting that the Coyotes tend to play better against better teams.
So I don't know when that win is. I don't know.
Yeah.
And luckily Craig is back to answer some of the questions that we came up with during that
Craig
break.
is coming to us live from the interview room. So
he can give us the feedback of what's going on.
And I can eat this other half of my Kit Kat.
Yeah.
You've been waiting on that the whole time?
Yeah, so have I.
I didn't want to chew in the mic.
It's all you, Craig.
Yeah, I mean,
melted.
listen, there's, as you know, there's only so much you can ask when these wins or these losses keep stacking up and the same problems arise. Andre Tournier talked a bit about, we dove into the offense a little bit, what he's seeing there. And of course they were producing chances, but he talked about some of the things that you were mentioning earlier. When guys aren't putting pucks in the net, they start to do some things that they probably shouldn't do, like passing open opportunity because they're not feeling confident. He's seeing things like that, obviously. They're just not finishing right now. They are generating offense. He likes what he's getting out of the structure. He thought the issues were defensively tonight because, as we all know, the Coyotes aren't going to win 5-3 games. They have to win low-scoring, tight games. So They can't have mistakes like we saw on that one goal where it was literally a 2-on-5. And as he said, there were 3 mistakes on that goal. Yeah, there's no system that can defend against that sort of level of mistakes. So you fall into a hole. You don't want to give up the first goal. You don't ever want to be chasing if you're the Coyotes, and then they just pour it on.
Have you heard one of the questions that came up while you were gone was talking about Galchenyuk, and it's a name that potentially could add some offense to this team. Do you have any update where he's at?
He's skating on his own back here in Arizona, so
it's a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, I could see him coming back. I think what they initially said, it was about 4 weeks, so he should be close to returning. We got some other updates as well. Kyle Capobianco skated today. He could join the team really soon, maybe as soon as Anaheim. We'll see how that goes. Unfortunately, they lost. Nick Schmaltz is out for like 3 to 4 weeks now, and I don't know yet what changed because he was originally
he was close.
He was listed as day-to-day.
Yeah.
When he got injured in that, I think it was the Florida game, right? When they lost everybody. Was that when it was? Yeah. And now it's 3 to 4 weeks, and I don't know what changed it. I'm trying to get more information on that. Ryan DeZingel's out another 1 to 2 weeks, so they're without a couple guys.
We're not talking that these guys are going to tear up the league standings and points and goals, but Nick Schmaltz is an offensive guy.
Yeah.
DeZingel has scored in this league before,
He can bring
too.
speed, too, right? So you can create that way.
And Galchenyuk's another guy. So injuries are playing into this for sure. I mean, is it why they're losing? No. I mean, there's way more to it than that. But could it help the offense? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as Capobianco, even if he's healthy, like, he's got to have full speed practices. I mean, he's been hurt since training camp.
Yeah.
He's not ready to jump into a game, I don't think. But
Yeah, I can't imagine that happens in Anaheim. I'd be surprised if it happened this weekend, but after that, maybe they get him back in. I don't know. Depends on how he looks. But as far as the offense, I mean, it only gets you so far when you say guys are creating offense. They're creating chances. I mean, listen, this is in a league where you get to measure yourself on the chances you create or expected goals. And it's a really good stat, by the way. It's one of my favorite analytics because it generally is pretty true to how a guy's playing and producing. But Clayton Keller's gone cold over the latter part of this road trip. They weren't getting anything from Schmaltz when he was in the lineup. They're just not getting offense from guys who need to produce.
Well, Phil needs to score.
Yeah, Phil needs to score. I mean, there's not a lot of options on this team.
I mean, and like we said before, Chychrun still doesn't have a point.
Jacob Chychrun doesn't have a point.
He had 6
Barrett
shots
Hayton.
tonight.
Look, Barrett Hayton's up here not just to play good two-way hockey. Barrett Hayton needs to produce points.
And he's between two of their offensive
And it's the
leaders.
line that's had the
Yeah.
most opportunities. On that subject, there was a question. Where did it go? Oh, will these losses destroy the development of our long-term prospects and best players? So I guess that could go for both Hayton on the one side, but also, I mean, Chychrun.
Yeah. No, but
the
we've
Reese's
said
right
that
in
all
his-
along, and we said that that's part
But
of the
not
reason.
just Hayton, like Chychrun and Keller. Like, is it gonna destroy them too?
I mean, this is what happened in Edmonton. I mean, we're 10 games into this tank season,
Right.
so we're a long way from just seeing where these people's careers end up. Edmonton learned to lose, period. They had the 4 first overall picks in 6 years and still lost. So that you need to draft well, which they did. They had the best player in those drafts, but then you have to teach these guys how to prepare and to win and not be selfish players doing it for their own individual stats. That's hard to do when you're losing.
Yeah.
And Jacob Chychrun's a fantastic example. Last year, led the National Hockey League in goals by defensemen. Doesn't have a point through 10?
Not a point. That's crazy.
Unheard of.
That is a crazy
stat.
Nobody would have predicted that.
No.
Yeah, that's what we were saying.
The good news, I said before he came in, he's got 5 shots on goal tonight.
He's minus 16.
Yeah.
So what's that doing to his development, his confidence,
Yeah.
does he get up in the morning, look at himself in a Coyote sweater and go, oh, this is awesome. Let's go to work again today. Like, I don't know. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
Like, at some point, I keep saying trades, guys going to start saying that. I want to get out of here. And that's not the environment you want to create. That's not what you want to have 2-3 years down the road. You want to have guys going, okay, we're losing right now, but I see it.
Yeah.
I see where this is going.
Can't see anything
I see
now.
the hope. And now, can't see the hope right now.
No.
And so is that what's next? Is it guys going, is it Keller? Is it Chychrun? Is it Fisher? Is it, Kraus going, hey, I want out of here. Like, uncle, I want out of Arizona. And I don't know. I'm not trying to rain on the parade 10 games in. We still have 72 to go. But at some point, is that what happens?
And let me ask you this: if that does in fact happen, and maybe it does, maybe Bill Armstrong isn't wed to anybody on this roster. And look, we only thought he was wed to Jacob Chychrun initially, and who knows? Maybe Jacob Chychrun get traded too. But can you really start a franchise from scratch? I mean, if you're moving all those guys, it's basically what you're doing, right?
Did.
Yeah, I mean,
You are
an expansion
You're
team,
an expansion
sure.
team.
But you're not getting, you're not getting a dispersal draft where you get a player to choose from every team. You got to,
Yeah.
you got to
This
do it
is
through
the
the draft or
closest
free
thing to
agency.
that I've ever seen, though, Craig. When you took 14 guys and blew it up,
Yeah.
that's where you were, right? And Keller, they would have moved if they could have. They couldn't move his contract. Kessel, they
Schmaltz.
would have moved, but they couldn't. Schmaltz, they would have moved if they couldn't. Like, maybe not Hayton and maybe not Chychrun.
Yeah.
And that might have literally, for both teams, Tucson and Arizona, that might have been it, those two. And even Hayton, if you could have got the right price, you might have moved. There are so many missing pieces right now.
Mm-hmm.
And you could talk about 2 or 3 years down the road. I know it's the plan. I know this, the Wright, the Bedard, all of those things could all fall into place. And we're still there 4 years from now. And we knew, when we all agreed to do this show, we all knew this was going to be what the show was. We knew it. Like we said, this team is going to be this. And we signed on going, it's going to be hard days. Today's a hard day. I thought they played well. I thought they had offensive opportunities. And here they are 10 games in without a win.
Is this where we bring in the
Yeah, it is.
the Aaron,
Is Aaron
special?
ready?
Yeah.
Oh.
Rebuild reminder.
I like the voice.
It's the
too.
voice.
The rebuild reminder. You know what? It's like one of those future sci-fi movies, like you'd get on the,
The white zone is for loading.
it is, isn't it? Wow, actually moderately creepy now. And that's what we're here for. We all knew it. We built the graphic rebuild reminder 2 weeks before the season started. We knew, the team knew, management, ownership, players knew. Players don't want to admit it. Coaches don't want to admit it. They know. They still have to go to work tomorrow. Now what? Like, what does Andre do now?
No.
Do you watch the video of this game and go, okay?
He did say, I asked him about the offense, and we've seen it. They've made some tweaks to what they're doing. They've introduced a little bit as this road trip has gone along, and he likes what he's seeing. Again, they are producing offense. There's only so much you can get out of this group, right?
Yeah.
They just don't have the finishers. That's the simple truth. You can tweak all you want. You're just not going to produce a lot of offense out of this roster, so you're going to have to do it the other way. Like we talked about, Vejmelka's going to have to play out of his mind, which he's done a lot, and you're just going to have to find a way to get a couple goals in a game. But they're not scoring at all.
Yeah.
13 goals in 10 games. I mean, that's a brutal rate. You're just not
Yeah,
going
they
to
have
win
2
games.
in their last 4.
Yeah.
Like and when you look at teams like on the score sheet, Couturier, Giroux, Konechny, like those are goal scorers.
Yep.
That's where they're going to show up on the score sheet. Even when they do start getting offense, and they'll score goals. Like we said, they'll win games, they'll score goals. It's 82 games. Things are going to happen. But I still don't know where they're coming from. If it's not Phil Kessel and Keller and Chychrun, I don't know who it is.
We're through 10 games already.
Yeah.
So winless in 10. What's the franchise record you were saying before?
11
11.
to start a season.
To start a season. So
I
they're
have
about
not looked at the winless streaks for franchise record for just any point in the season, but to
I
start a
think
season,
Oh, franchise. Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll have to look at
it's
NHL.
11.
NHL
Yeah,
was 18.
Yeah,
I think.
it's 15 to start a season.
No,
is
but
it 18 overall?
18
18's
yeah.
overall.
Alright,
We'll have to
there
look
we
at
go.
the Coyotes one because there were 2 horrific ones when Rick Bowness took over after Bobby Francis was let go. That was bad. And the Dave Tippett era, the 14-15 season. But I don't think there were any streaks like that in the Dave Tippett era.
Yeah.
Bonus was 1 or 2 wins out of the last 20. Like it was bad. But we'll have to go back and look. So there have been stretches where it's been bad. And we talk a lot about the 17-18 season when they did go the 11 to start a season that actually ended in Philadelphia with an overtime goal by
Alex
Goose.
Goligoski.
Yep. Goose gets the overtime winner and gets Rick Tocchet his first win as a head coach. But even that season, when you look back at the 17-18 season, there were points. It would go right to the first game. They should have won the first game. 4-1 with 5 minutes left in the second. Louis Domingue with less than a stellar goaltending effort. They lose that game. There were points in that 10-game streak that they had leads, they had goals. You thought they could. And even after Christmas, when Antti Ranta got healthy, they went on a huge run. Like they were one of the hottest teams in the league for 2.5 months.
Yeah.
And that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know if that can happen with this group.
No, I don't think this roster is as good as that roster. You remember how good they looked in that opener in Anaheim.
Yeah.
They should have won that game. Louis Domingue lost them that game.
Yeah.
They did not look good in the opener this year.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
We talked that game alone. Duclair and Domi both scored. They both scored with speed, and you said, "Wow, this team's going to score goals."
Yeah.
Even that first game, they got 4 goals. So,
right,
that team could score. They just couldn't stop anything. That
Until
was
Raanta came
horrific.
back.
Until Raanta came back, they went Wedgwood. They got rid of Domingue. Wedgwood came up on waivers. Oh no, they traded for him when we were in New Jersey. They got Wedgwood. The point is. There were some offensively talented players there, and they did lose those shootouts 7-5, 7-6. There were games like that. This team's not scoring 5 goals. I don't know where that's going to come from. And all 3 of us sat there with our players to lead the team in goals and points. We're not doing so good.
Yeah, and our
But
guesses
that's because no one's scoring.
and our
There's no
guesses
points.
for what those numbers would be are also probably not looking good. And Craig, when you were out of the room, we said that DraftKings actually took the Coyotes off the futures.
Yeah,
It's
for
like you
points.
can't even bet on
For
them.
points on a season.
Yeah.
They had them at 65 as a season total points. It is no longer available as a bet. They didn't lower the points. They took them right off the board.
How often does that happen?
I've never. I don't know. I'll have to.
I don't know either, but we were just saying that DraftKings is right on it.
Wow.
Yeah,
right
so
on
they-
it.
you
Where's
can
Shane?
no
We need to
longer-
ask that question.
You
I
can
know.
no
Oh, that's
longer
crazy.
take them.
No.
Just following up on Nick Schmaltz, it was just a matter of doing a further evaluation. I don't know what the injury is, but doing a further medical evaluation, they obviously got more info and
that's
found
so
more
he's
trouble.
back here then.
Found more trouble, yeah. So 3 to 4 weeks.
Are they? They're not skating tomorrow, are they?
I don't know for certain. I actually haven't seen the email.
Yeah, I
from
think
Greg Diller
tomorrow
yet.
is a full day
Oh
off.
yeah. In fact, they had planned to take the day off.
Full day
so
off tomorrow, and then they'll skate Thursday and then fly.
hit the road to Anaheim for the last game of this weird road trip.
Yeah. Start of a back-to-back.
Well, we've been talking a lot for pretty much the last week. When do we think the Coyotes are going to get their first win? And if any of you do, you can bet on the Coyotes to win on the DraftKings Sportsbook app, or you can just keep betting against them, like many people have
It's
been
coming.
doing. It'll come, and I'm sure when it does, people will be making money on betting that, because the Coyotes are always underdogs on DraftKings Sportsbook. So make sure you check out the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the code PHNX when you sign up. Bet $5 on an NFL team to win their game. And if they do, you'll get your $200 in free bets. And then you can guesstimate along with us when you think the Coyotes' first win will come. And you can make some good money with those free bets. Are we any other last thoughts on the hockey? Because I know we want to talk about some other stuff.
Yeah, and it's not like we appreciate everybody coming in for the group therapy, but
Pack therapy.
we're hockeyed out right now. Like that's it. Like what else can we say? They can't score, and they lost again.
Vimmelka plays well.
Yeah, we literally could just replay our shows and take the week off.
Just like
Vimmelka played well. They couldn't score.
Vimmelka is our DraftKings king the game.
Yeah, I wonder how long it would take for people to notice which game we were even talking
Oh my
about.
god. So
Just have a voiceover. No, but have a different tone and then say,
Craig, you got to write.
Edmonton.
We're not going to answer
voice for the
Sammy
game.
D's question, but you're going to have to tell him it's coming in a story. Did you hit the one you
Sky
just?
Harbor
Yeah, the Sky Harbor.
issue.
Aaron just shuffles through these so fast.
So many. They say, why isn't Sky Harbor really a concern for the Tempe?
It's a red herring. It's really not a concern. The Coyotes were not even allowed to address the issue at that meeting. The meeting was held without them. They have a plan in place. They're willing to work with the airport. This is such a red herring. This is politics, folks. Think about which parties out there might not want to see this arena get built. The city of Phoenix might be right at the top there because they have a competitive arena downtown where they don't want to see events taken away. So they're playing hardball right now. This kind of stuff happens all the time. I do not think that the airport is an issue that is going to prevent the Tempe Arena from being built.
You heard it here first. Well, Craig, what I really want to know from you
Yeah.
is how was the haunted house?
Let's go back to Halloween.
Okay. let's. So I'm starting with Halloween.
Yeah.
We're gonna get everyone's Halloween stories here. Okay, let's start with mine. First of all, my wife really likes Halloween, and you should see the way our courtyard is decorated. There's webs everywhere. There's spiders. There's a cadaver hanging in the webs. I
Why?
mean, it is crazy. And then we have this skull that she puts outside, and there's a wire that goes inside, and she can talk into it and make the mouth move. So when everyone comes to the door, she greets them through the skull.
Wow.
And she goes on probably for too long. I'm sure there were some kids who were like, just open the door and give me some candy already. But they had to have a conversation with the skull first. So that's one side of it. Meanwhile, I'm at Arizona for their trio of haunted houses with 4 teenagers. And they're all like grabbing my shirt, all hiding behind me. I'm running point through all of these
Running
houses.
point.
I am running point. Yeah. It was good, by the way. They had 3 very different experiences at Arizona, but like I said, I was taking all the heat.
And you survived it yourself.
I
You
did
were fine.
survive, yeah.
Whew,
So
thank
proud.
goodness.
My eardrums too from all the screaming.
Oh my
Dad
god.
of the year.
Oh my god.
It was fun.
No, you're up.
Oh, I'm up. Okay, so I was tired, so I stayed in, and I was like, I want to watch a scary movie. So, by the way, I'm home alone. I watched.
Good idea.
I watched The Conjuring.
Did you watch Scream?
I watched The Conjuring for the first time. I've never seen it.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, by myself. I get through it. You know what? I was like, that wasn't so bad. So then after I watch a movie, like I always go and read the facts. I didn't know that this was like based on a
Based
true
on
story.
reality, yeah.
So I'm like reading about that online, and as I am, this is true. The lights in my apartment
No.
flickered
Oh,
No.
twice.
That's it.
I am sitting here
Stay at
today
your mom's
alive,
that
but
night.
I'm just saying I was terrified.
So you
Yeah.
stayed at your mom's.
No, I was at
You
my.
stuck it out?
scary movie, Home Alone.
No,
You stuck it out? You didn't go home?
I did not go home.
I might have if the lights.
All right, Petey, tell us about
No,
the contest.
well, the contest we won. Craig talks about his decorations. My wife, crafty. Everything was at duct tape, wire, and Joann's fabrics. It was, yeah. So we won our neighborhood.
Well, you gotta
decorating
describe
contest.
it. What did it look
I don't
like?
know.
I don't know.
Duct tape and wires
Yeah, we
doesn't
had
sound
great
like
pic-
award
She
winning.
sure brought pictures. She has, those pumpkins you used to trick or treat in, those colored pumpkins.
Yeah.
So she took those, turned them upside down, put them on tomato. Do you know what tomato cages are?
Sure.
Those were the body of the witches. The pumpkin was the witch's head, wigs, witches' hats, and then the bodies you use garbage bags, and they all held hands. I'm telling you what, it was really, really cool because they were 5 feet tall. It was really cool. We had spotlights on all of them. That was just one of the 4 settings we had. So that was cool. For me, I told you that I don't want to talk to the kids. Major success. The candy was 15 feet away. 2 TVs I brought out in my driveway. We had baseball on and the Vikings. Money. Like brilliant. Cooler with beer right here. 15 feet away are
Did you
kids.
have your horns on?
I had the horns on.
Okay, beautiful.
Every dad walked right up. What's the score? What's the score? Like, they didn't want to
So
be
you
told.
talked to the dads.
So
Yes.
this
Just
was
didn't
your
talk to the
mistake,
children.
is you didn't want to talk to the kids, but now you had the game. So you
But
had
I
to
didn't have to. I couldn't tell you what any kids wore. Couldn't tell you how many kids came to think. Didn't care.
Okay.
No problem. One kid. It's a true story, and I still don't know if his dad is listening. I'm sorry. This kid came up wearing a referee outfit with a baseball hat. Okay.
Yeah.
Love baseball. I love baseball. Great, because we do too. What's the score? He goes, I'll be back. Sure enough, came back, sat down in the middle of our driveway,
No.
watching the baseball game with us. Complete strangers. Never seen this kid. Not from our neighborhood. No idea who this kid is. And he looks, well, you got anything to drink?
What?
We're like, yeah, but nothing,
right.
unfortunately, nothing for you. Yeah, I know it's beer. Well, yeah, okay. So my wife goes in, gets him a bottle of water, sits in our driveway and watches the baseball game. As other kids are getting, I swear,
No idea who this kid is. To
no
this
idea
day.
who that kid is.
Okay.
No clue.
Wow.
No clue. Sat there and watched the baseball game with us. What do you do? It's Halloween. You can't say beat it, kid. Can you?
I mean,
Beat it.
Well, if anybody could, you could.
Yeah.
I
I'd
know.
say so.
I thought about it, but I didn't. It was
Oh
baseball.
my
So that was
gosh.
my Halloween.
All right, Aaron. Halloween. You think about which part you want to tell us.
No, sorry. I'm trying to be quiet because the last time I talked, people were complaining about their ears. So no, my Halloween was good. I don't think my roommate realized how early trick-or-treaters go out. So I wasn't home from coaching until later that night. And I don't think my roommate was home till like 6:30. So I think we missed a majority of trick-or-treaters.
Oh.
But she was so excited to hand out candy. And I think there was maybe like 10 kids that came to her. So now we just have a bunch of candy.
We're collecting them in the front yard. Even people like our neighbors would go, "Who's the kid?" We go, "We have no idea who this kid is."
Somebody said that. That
So
kid is my
eventually the kid
hero.
left.
It's your kid now.
Just got up and left.
So, and I don't want to exaggerate. It might have been 20 minutes. And so my wife got him a water, and he's sitting there. A guy came in. He goes, "Oh, I finally found you." Dad came, and He just looked at us. He looked at his kid, and he left.
He left his kid?
there. Left the kid there. Yeah, left the kid there. He goes, I'm going to go to so-and-so's house. And he left and left the kid there. That was it. I'm not making
So
that
how
up.
did the kid get home eventually?
He eventually
wandered
left.
off?
He just wandered off eventually
I feel
into
like-
the night by himself.
Wandered
I
off
feel like that's a
alone,
real
okay.
life scenario when like your parents used to tell you like, oh, like if someone tried to steal you, they just drop you right back off. Like that's the
Yeah,
real life
like
scenario.
we're the strangers. Like what do you do
But it's
here?
like, don't talk to strangers and don't accept candy from
Candy
strangers.
from 'em.
And it was like he was doing
Yeah,
Right.
Asking, well, you got anything to drink? Like, yeah, sorry, kid. We didn't have the right mix for you. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was, and when the
my
candy wasn't good
God.
enough, we could talk about that last thing.
Yeah.
You got bite size, fun size, or full size. Full size can't afford. Who can afford full size candy bars? Silverleaf, maybe. We're not doing full size candy bars. I thought I bought the fun size. I was mistaken. I bought the bite size. So I thought,
rookie move.
bad candy. The kid let me know that, by the way, because he said, hey.
The one that sat with you?
Oh, yeah. There was a house around the corner that had full-size bars and full-size
What do we call
popcorn
this
things.
kid, by the way? Do you have a name?
No, I've got
People
some
will
names
come
for
up
him,
with
but
one, I'm sure.
I'm not gonna. No, and you know what? He's a great kid. I'm like, that's funny. He wanted to watch baseball.
Yeah.
Good on him. He was an umpire
Ooh,
for
Jacob
Halloween.
said they gave out full-size candy bars.
Jacob
Don't be
did?
cheap, he says.
Wow.
Ooh, shots fired. Jacob from the airport bar. He said
Jacob.
he's drinking a beer at the airport right now.
So we gave out full-size candy bars to the neighbor kids.
Okay.
The kids we knew.
Fair enough.
We reserved some bars for them.
That's fair enough.
But the rest got,
Yeah.
they got.
With
they
the
didn't
little
get,
things.
They didn't get bite-sized, Petey. I'll say
I
that.
know.
So which candies did you guys choose to hand out, by the way, after you got such great advice from me? What did you give?
This is the other true
I live
story.
in an apartment complex.
The other
There's no
true story, Craig.
trick-or-treaters.
I went home. We had 3 bags of candy from different locations. I went through, true story, dumped them all out on the counter, took all of Snickers out, Almond Joy out, peanut M&Ms out, took them out.
And
Look
you
at
brought
you.
them
And
to
I
the
brought them
studio
to the
tonight,
office.
and we were all eating
They're
them
all here.
All the
earlier.
nuts out. Good for you.
Yeah, I took all the nuts out.
All right, well, that's
Is
enough.
that a Manscaped read? Took all the nuts? Oh,
Oh boy.
Sad.
never mind.
Skittles.
Took all the nuts
The
out.
Skittles
Skittles.
went like crazy. The Skittles were gone.
You knew.
Okay.
Just saying.
You knew. All
I
right.
think-
I think we've talked about
Are we it?
I think
Till Friday?
I don't know what else we could talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, we got our podcast on Wednesday, so.
that's true. That's tomorrow. Yes. So audio podcast tomorrow.
Yes,
We'll
it
be
is.
back with post games on Friday and Saturday. Craig will be here Friday, but he'll be at the game Saturday. So tune in for both those. Follow us on Twitter at PHNX_Coyotes, where you can vote in polls about goaltender nicknames. And follow each of us on Twitter at Craig S. Morgan, at Leah Merrill, at S. Peters Hockey. Petey got a shout out on the Bally Sports broadcast today for his keys
Read
of the
my keys of the
game.
game on air on Bally.
Yeah, so
Coyotes ripped off our pole.
ripped off our pole, ripped off their keys
Yeah.
to the game. I'm just kidding. They didn't rip it off Petey's keys to the
There
game.
it is.
And then also follow PHNX Sports across all platforms, and of course become a member online on the website, because that's where all the amazing written content is as well. So on that note, we will be back with our audio podcast tomorrow and see everybody Friday after the Ducks game, and maybe it'll be
Got a
lit.
chance.
You know,
Say-
it'll have to
saying
happen
there's a
eventually.
chance.
Have a good night, everyone.